Okay, convert to even number array converts every element in the array to an even number by leaving even integers alone, even numbers alone, and replacing odd numbers with 2 times their value. So notice it has a parameter number array, but it doesn't return anything. And those changes that we make to the array will be saved, even though we're not returning that array. So since we're changing the values in the array, we have to loop through the indices. We cannot loop through the values. So we'll go back up to main and we'll call this guy. And we're calling it convert to even, and it doesn't return anything. Convert to even, and we're sending in this number array. I'm going to get an error because I haven't defined that method. But right after it, I want to call output array to see if it worked. So I'll just code that in now. And we'll go all the way to the bottom and write out the code for convert to even, or I could put it right here as well, but I'm going to put it at the bottom. So public, not returning anything, so void convert to even. I've been using camel case pretty much exclusively throughout the quarter. If for some reason you are using a lot of words in your name, sometimes the underscore between the words makes it easier to read. So I'd say if there's more than 3 words, probably, but usually you try to stick with 1 throughout the code. So all right, convert to even, and it's getting an integer array. Let's call it array. Oops. Array. I'm going to put a space there just so it makes it a little easier to see. Okay, so we should have taken care of the logic error. Yep, methods defined. Okay, so we want to think about this. We're gonna loop through the values in the array. If it's even, we're gonna leave it alone. If it's odd, we're gonna replace it with twice it. So we're gonna run through a loop through the indices. So I equals 0, I less than the size. So it's array dot length. My cat is doing something. Okay, I'll show you. Sam, Rio. There he is. Endless entertainment. Okay. I++, sorry. What are we doing? If array bracket I, so how do you check if something is even? We mod it by 2. And if that is not equal to, well, we could say either not equal to 0 or we could say equal to 1. Let's say not equal to 0. If that's not 0, that means it's odd. If it's not 0, we want to replace it with, so array I equals, and this is why we cannot use the values here, because I'm changing the array, the value in the array. Array I times 2. So this is an interesting thing. It's going to multiply the value by 2 first and then store it in there. And notice I'm not returning anything. So when I run this, those values should still be adjusted in convert to even. This is kind of what I wanted. Oh, I need a print line at the end of my max. Main, this should be a print line. So the min is 22, the max is 75, and in my convert to even, 75 got converted to 150. The min is 15, the max is 64, the 15 was odd, it got converted to 30. Good. And again, it's working good. We had a couple of odds. 73 got converted to 146. 69 got converted to 138. Excellent. We could run min max again if we wanted. So there's that code for convert to even. Pretty short. Yeah. You know, right here we could also do array I times equals 2, but you know, I think it's sometimes better to just write it out so the person knows what you're doing. Let's tell them what this method does. Method converts method replaces odd values in the array with 2 times the value. Okay, and we've got one more, and I'll just do it in this video. Count hundreds, accepts an array of integers as a parameter, counts how many elements are greater than or equal to 100, and returns that count. So I'm going to jump back to main, and this time we're going to traverse through using the values again. We'll call the method count hundreds, sending it the number array, and then we'll print this out. System.out. Let's see, number of hundreds. So number in hundreds. And then, so I need a count here, and I can see in my count hundreds that it should return that count. So count hundreds should be returning integer. And I'm kind of cheating here by writing the print statement right now, but I know that after I run that method, I want to check it, so I'm just putting the check in right now. Makes our life a little easier when you're watching a video, so it just makes things a little quicker. Okay, so we're going to go down and define count hundreds at the bottom. Returning an integer. And it's accepting an integer array as a parameter. Not those in the methods, we're calling those array. Okay, now we'll set up a return statement to make sure the logic is flowing correctly. Go back to main. Yep, no error. Good to go. So this time I want to loop through the values, and if the value is greater than or equal to 100, yep, I want to increase the count. So we need a count starting off at 0, and I want to loop through the values in the loop. So the values are all integers. That's the variable name, so I could call that word value. I could replace it with the word element, number. You know, I like value. For the integer value in the array, for each, it's what's called like a for each loop. For each value in the array is how you would say that. Each value in the array, if the value is greater than or equal to 100, increase the count. And then don't return 0, return the count. And I know I have all this empty space here, so I just want to clean it out. This is not a bad thing for you guys to get in the habit of before you submit something, or when before you move on to another method. It's just to kind of clean up your spacing. And what's good spacing is sort of leaving a space between methods. That's not as important if I have those comments in. See how that kind of, the comments themselves space it out, but still helpful. And I should comment this. Traverses through the values in the array, returning the count of how many are greater than or equal to 100. So there's our array, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there's one that's 10, yay. So we are getting some that are length 10. I wasn't sure because we hadn't had one yet. The minimum is 4, the maximum is 99. Wow, cool. This should take rid of all the odds. There's only 2, there's 3, 57, 27, and 99 were all odd. They all got doubled. And then there's only 2 values in the hundreds. So this is what's nice about the randomly generated array is that I don't have to keep entering numbers. I was originally going to do this user entry, but it's just too slow. Same thing, min 20, max 94. There's only one odd, that's 73. It doubles to 146, and that's the only one in the hundreds. You know, remember our original values were all less than or equal to 100, between 0 and 100 inclusive. So in the originally, until you double, there can at most be only one. Well, I guess you could have 100 a few times, but it's rare to actually get 100. Again, 1. Okay, so it's all working. Oh, there's one with no hundreds, no even, no odds. The min is 4, the max is 4, everything's 4. All right, so again, the 2 different ways to loop through, one using the indices, the other using the values. You can pause there if you need that method, and I'm going to scroll back up and capture the other 2 above it. Min and max, same thing, where we have, you know, one goes through the indices, one goes through the values. Pause, scroll up. That's an output array and generate the array, both of which, let's see, I think both of these I went through the indices. Yep. And then capture me. And I use integers arrays. It could be anything. You know, you could use strings. You could use anything, an array of any object. So all of these things would work the same. You know, the indices are always integers. So when you traverse through using the indices, you know, you're always using I equals 0 up to the length. The values could be anything. So these values could be strings. I mean, I would say here string, and then you loop through all the strings. Maybe I'll do one of those next. This is a good, and just I'll finish with this. This problem is kind of a good example problem. These are sort of the level of things that I can easily ask on the test, or I could ask you to have a few of these in combination because it allows us to have a main that sort of passes parameters back and forth, and you don't have a number array until it generates the number array. Then you can call one of these methods, and that uses that array. So I could have like a 2-part problem or something where you're writing the main, you're writing a couple of methods, putting it all together. So that and yet individually they're not. There's not a ton of logic, though there is some, and you have to really understand how you're traversing through and things. So each of these methods is a good sort of example to be fluent in. So you could translate this to something similar come exam time.